What sort of evidence did Father Montague Summers present for the existence of vampires and werewolves in his book on those topics? And what exactly does traditional folklore have to say regarding such phenomenon?
Well, I mean, the evidence he presented was all written accounts by people whose veracity one would have no reason to doubt if it were on other topics. You know, if I don't know who's the most trusted historian today.
Arthur Schlesinger?
Well, all right, fine. If Arthur Schlesinger wrote an account of a vampire outbreak in his town in New Jersey, you would take it with some. You might have a hard time believing it because it's about vampires, but because it's written by Arthur Schlesinger, it would count more than if it were in the Inquirer.
Mm.
So, those are the sorts of sources he used. He obviously did not produce any photographic evidence. As far as what was
What exactly does traditional folklore have to say regarding such phenomena?
well, that werewolves are, and other folklores have other were beings, foxes and jaguars and bears and so forth. But these are creatures who people who either through a curse cast upon them or a spell devised by them change into an animal, in this case a wolf, and that they act as wolves and eat and kill animals and people while they're under the spell. It was seen traditionally as being a satanic mockery of God, of the Incarnation specifically, because that is God and a man, whereas this is man and animal. And similarly for the vampire, who is really a possessed corpse, that is to say, a resurrected body whose animating spirit was not the person, but a demon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a possessed corpse, basically. Kept itself alive with blood, had some possession of its host's memories, and add insult to injury, was also an insult to God. This time, not the incarnation, but the resurrection, where our Lord was life into death, the vampire's death into life.
Wow.
So, there you go.
Let's say I was a modern scholar, and I was to say to you that the fact that there are no modern accounts of vampires or werewolves is proof that these things are just myths and superstitions. What would you say to me?
No, I'd say first I would question whether or not there aren't any modern accounts. That would be my first question. The second would be that the devil tailors his doings to the people he's dealing with. And in the society we live in, it's far more to his benefit to get people to believe he doesn't exist than to convince them of his existence with this kind of stuff. So you've got to remember, none of these things, whether we're talking about these sorts of preternatural phenomena or Eucharistic miracles or divine healings through relics or whatever, none of these things happen by accident or at random.
Mm-hmm.
Good or bad, there is an intelligence behind them, a strategy. We don't know what that strategy is. We can't tell. But you ask yourself, why does things happen more in one place than another? Well, we don't know, but there's a reason for it. Of the 5 Eucharistic miracles that have been proved approved by the Church in the past 5 years, 2 were in Poland, 1 Mexico, 1 India, and 1 Argentina. Why those countries, and why 2 in Poland? Why not 1 here in the United States?
Well, because the faith is supposed to come out of Poland, right? Isn't that the prophecy? The faith will come out of Poland.
That's one theory. But who knows? I don't. If I didn't know, I'd know the mind of God, and I assure you I do not know that. What else we got?
Well, before we jump into other things, 2 books we've never promoted before. Speaking of vampires, this book isn't that big of a deal. It's just the reason why Tumblr House exists. This book.
Yeah, The Endless Knot, a 12 Henke book.
By Professor Biersack. If you've seen, that's the gentleman who talks, who's done talks with Charles. If you've listened to any of those talks, these books are written by him, and this is the first book by Tumblr House. And our name is derived from the Knights Tumblar, in these books, in this series.
Yep.
And I believe one of the characters in the Knights Templar is allegedly you.
Allegedly. So I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, if you buy at least 2 of the books and you read them and you figure out who the character is supposed to be based on me, you will get a shout out by name.
Some people
Yeah.
might. Okay.
Well, if you already know, don't give it away. This
Yeah.
is for newbies. But I must say, this is of the series. This is actually the vampire book. The
Yes.
Darkness Did Not. And he has a phrase in here. Remember I said to you earlier that the vampire was a possessed corpse. And I don't think I'm giving much away to say that in this particular case, they forced the vampire to tell where it got the body.
Right.
And the body was that of a 16th century Huguenot in France, who, because he was a good Calvinist and sure that he was one of the elect, for various reasons killed himself. Now, one of the ways in the old folklore that you got vampires was through suicides. The suicide was very likely to come back as a vampire.
Wow.
So, remember that the Huguenot in question thought he was going straight to heaven. Well, he kills himself. And this, as I say, they forced the vampire to reveal his origins and the body's origins. He tells him in response to what you just heard, and I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, in keeping with Halloween, this is probably one of the most frightening lines I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, they quote the vampire in the beginning. Yeah,
Right.
read it if you would.
And the thing is, the suicide was through poison. That was how he killed himself. This is the demon speaking, the vampire speaking. You should have seen the look on his face when he woke up in hell beside me, the demon who was waiting to take possession of his body. What a horrible taste I had in his mouth when I first opened these eyes.
I just got goosebumps. That is terrifying.
Isn't it? Great book.
I've read those books like 3 times over.
Yeah, if you read them a fourth, you get a special present.